Welcome back, everyone. My name is Renee, the host of the Body and Mind Strong podcast. And today we are on episode 44. And we'll be talking about going from resolutions to results, keeping your goals going through 2026. Now, if you are watching me, you guys will see my nice little cute little PowerPoint slide up to the right. And if you're listening, don't worry about it. You'll hear everything that's on the slide. But I wanted to bring this up because I realized as I was going through this process of getting this podcast up and wanting to be my authentic self, which I talked about last time, I realized I either have to have either an Excel spreadsheet or a PowerPoint slide up. Yes, I'm an Excel geek and I love PowerPoint. So that's me. So in order to be me, I knew I needed to have these up. So I'm moving forward. There's going to be a PowerPoint slide up. And that's just me. I geek out like that. So, and also what I realized, going through it, I talked about last time is that, when I'm reading off a script, I really focused on everything had to be perfect. And that's what kind of wore me out. So I wanted to get off of that and do more bullet points and not worry about not worry about if I mess up a word and have to restate a word or reframe a sentence or anything like that. But I realized that I still have to have some kind of a script because I deal with that whole um, deer in the headlight thing when I'm either giving like a briefing, a presentation, or recording. I have a tendency to kind of freeze or forget what's next, even if it's something I know by heart, right? So I know I need to have some kind of script. So I'm going to blend both of them. I'm going to still have script through some of this, read off of script, and then I'm also going to bullet point and kind of just go off things and really work through this whole need of things being perfect and trying to let things go. And I know some of you guys can relate to that. So we're just deep breath. We're just going to let things go. And whatever happens is going to happen, right? So, all right, let's get rolling. Now, as I'm recording this, it is February, which means 2026 is in full swing. So I wanted to check in with you all to see how your New Year's resolutions are going. And I bet you some of you guys are all over it. You're working your way towards your goals. And I definitely bet some of you guys, are not. And I would bet I have fallen into that trap myself, setting New Year's resolutions just to fall off of them like a month or a couple weeks later, a couple months later. But over the years, I have learned just how powerful setting proper goals or proper goal setting can be when it comes to actually achieving what we're set out to do. So, a few years ago, I decided to rethink this tradition and I came up with a couple different approaches and I created what I call the New Year's aspirations or New Year's resolutions. You'll hear it either way. And what it is just a better, more sustainable way to crush your goals. Now, before I get into what this New Year's aspirations is, I am going to dive into some facts I found when I was doing this research on it. And I found some interesting facts. And the insights came from several studies and articles I read. And yes, I cherry picked these studies. So it's not everything. Otherwise, it turned into a book. But majority of these I have seen in my sessions with clients. So let's get this PowerPoint slide up and rolling. And if you guys missed the last episode, you guys will see me hitting look to my right a lot because in order to use the split screen, the monitor I'm using is my TV at the other side of the trailer, which is attached to the wall. So it's got to stay over there. But let's get rolling with it. And let's see if we can get rolling with it. There we go. All right. The first things first. Why do New Year's resolutions don't work? Well, 35% from what I've researched, 35% New Year's resolutions. Let me restart that. 35% break their New Year's resolutions by the end of January, and only about 20% make it through the year. And then another reason this doesn't work is people tend to set unrealistic expectations. And I've seen this a lot in working with my clients. And setting these unrealistic expectations actually make it harder to accomplish them. Another reason is they tend to have this all or nothing attitude, which is something I've seen a lot too. They try to do too much at first. They try to do everything, start on all their goals all at once, which leaves them burnt out or feeling overwhelmed or feeling stressed. Another reason is people tend to make their goals based off of what other people think they should be doing and not what they really truly want for themselves. And so that's another reason. All right. Next, what are the 10 most common New Year's resolutions? Exercise more, lose weight, right? We've all heard that one. Get organized, learn a new skill or hobby, live life to the fullest, which I love that one. Save more money or spend less money, quit smoking, spend more time with friends and family, travel more, and actually read more. So those are the most common ones I found when doing my research. All right. Oh, setting up the New Year's aspirations. Before I actually get into that, oops, let's go back. There we go. Before I get into that, I wanted to talk a little bit more about how the New Year's aspirations came about. And so, like, how it came to life. So, like many people, I used to set goals in January just to fall off the wagon just a few months later and eventually give up altogether. And like most, I saw New Year's as a fresh start instead of what it really is, just another day followed by another and another. It's the same mentality some people have with Mondays. They see that day as a reset, so they let loose over the weekend, undoing any progress they made the week before. And I see this a lot with like fat loss or strength training, or mainly like with fat loss, like body recomping, is that they do perfect. They do great over the week. And then over the weekend, they're like, I can have a slight break. And then that slight break turns into the whole weekend break. But they're like, oh, it's Monday. I can restart on Monday. I can keep going. This mindset doesn't set you up for success. If anything, it keeps you stuck in a vicious cycle that leads to frustration. Now, that that restart, that Mondays, the New Year's resolution is seen also as a fresh start effect. I know you guys have heard about it, and there's nothing wrong with the fresh start effect, but we have to be really careful with it because it can actually work against us at the same time. Just like how I talked about like Monday being a reset. Like, look how many Mondays are in a year. Look how many times you're restarting. Sometimes it doesn't work for us, but the fresh start effect can get us going. It gives us that motivation. But then we have to move on from that and really focus on like the goal itself and focus on and I just brain farted because I was going off script right there. But just focus on oh, the word's gonna come to me later. Okay, I'm gonna keep going. I will come back to that one. I'll keep going. But anyways, as I was looking at all this, I started to ask myself, how do we break that cycle and actually stick to our goals? Determination is one of the words I was thinking about. See, I have a little ADD mind going on. So that's kind of why scripting works for me. But see, you guys are learning me. Anyways, the answer to that question is how do we break this cycle is to stop treating New Year's resolutions like some magical event and start treating them like any other goal setting process. Recognize that achieving goals is an evolutionary process, something that shifts, adapts, and grows with you over time. Goals don't have to be rigid or set in stone. Goals are malleable. You can change your goals. Life changes, and if your goals need to adapt to these changes, then let them. There is nothing wrong with that. As life happens, you might have to tweak a long-term goal or adjust a short-term step or even toss out ones that no longer fit your life because life happens, right? And changing a goal or remodifying, dropping it, adding new goals, it's not failure, it's flexibility. Because some things, our life changes and that goal may no longer have meaning or have like fit into our life anymore. So it's just flexibility. So, all right, let's get started with these New Year's aspirations, right? So, first things first, right? And you've all heard this one, make your goals smart, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. And if you can't, don't worry about it. Just get it down. You have to start somewhere though. So just get those goals down. And even when you get them down, then you can take a look at them and break them into even smaller steps. And as you start breaking them down in steps, they automatically start becoming more and more smart, right? So just get them down and you have to start somewhere. Second, and this is really important, is ask yourself why you're setting the goal. I want you to define your why behind this goal and the why it matters, right? The why is your driving force that keeps you going when your initial motivation fades. And let's be honest, it will. Determination. Yep, I said that, right? So the motivation is what gets us going. Defining your why is going to be your determination to keep it going, right? And so let's use an example here. Um, let's use me for your goal. Now, with your I'm waking up 4:35 in the morning, and this actually just happened. I was living in Washington at this time when it was dark at that early in the morning because it was cloudy, it was raining off and on, right? It was drizzly, it was cold, and I'd have to get up and go to the gym before I went to work because that was the only way it fit into my schedule was to it worked best that way for me. And so I had these goals, and I remember waking up and wanting to shut off the alarm and go back to bed because it was too cold outside and not wanting because I am not a morning person. I have no motivation in the morning, but I had to sit there and tell myself, okay, why am I going to the gym? Oh, yeah, I have these strength training goals. I have these running goals because I had races on the plan. And so I had to really focus on why I was getting to the gym. And that's what got me out of bed. Like I said, there was no motivation there. It was the why that got me out of bed. And also, defining your why can make your more meaningful, the understanding of them. And it kind of goes back to, one of the reasons why the goals don't work is we base goals off of what others their expectations, what other people think we should be doing. So as you're defining your why, that will help you kind of get rid of the goals that you're doing just because others are expecting you of it. You really want to figure out why you're doing it for you and make it meaningful because the meaningful is what's going to keep it going. Like this is one I saw a lot in the past was like fat loss goals, right? Their goal was because they wanted to feel good about themselves and they wanted to be skinny. Well, being skinny is not a really I you can probably challenge me on this, but I don't think it's a good why. Because once you're skinny, what does that mean to you? Are you going to feel better about yourself? Are you going to have more energy? Or are you going to fit into new clothes? What is that? What is just being why? Are you going to be healthier? Because being skinny does not automatically mean you're healthy. Being skinny doesn't mean you're automatically going to start feeling better about yourself. So those two things don't go together. So I want you to have more meaningful whys behind it. So that kind of helps you a little bit because when they're kind of like shallow whys are really easy to discard and be like, oh, I don't need to work on this goal. But when they're deep and meaningful, it's definitely going to help. And so understanding your reasons can help transform your goals from vague wishes to meaningful commitments. Whether it's improving your health, building confidence, or creating more balance, your why will keep you grounded and focused when discipline has to take over. And so finally, the third tip is decide when to start. Not everything needs to start on January 1st. In fact, this is what leads to burnout. And I mentioned this earlier. Everyone's starting everything, all your goals in changing habits are hard. And if you're trying to change like 15 habits at once, it's going to feel overwhelming, stressful, and you're just going to drop the goal. You're going to forget about this, right? So that is one of the main reasons. And then also some goals may require preparation or the right timing before you can realistically begin, right? Some may be based off of weather. And if you live in a snowy area, doing certain things outside like summer sports doesn't not always going to fit in and you may have to wait a couple months or you may have to complete one goal before you start another goal because this one goal is actually a foundation to another goal. So it's okay to like set goals to begin in March or even in August after that. And then by mapping out your goals month to month, you can spread your focus out and keep your momentum going all year long. Each month, pick a few short-term goals to work towards. These smaller wins will build the foundation for your long-term success. All right, next, a few extra tips to help you stay consistent and motivated throughout the year. So first, define your support system, right? So surround yourself with those who will encourage you and hold you accountable. Now, also be mindful of those partners in crimes that you have. We all have that best friend who means well, but will tend to pull you off a track. Like if you have a friend that you're like, hey, let's go to the gym. And one of you guys are like, hey, I want a coffee. And also the other one's like, okay. And you're off to get a coffee, right? You don't hold each other accountable, even though you really wanted to. You just get sidetracked easily together. So be careful of those. Another one is keep a log or a journal of your journey through this whole process for a couple of reasons. One, you're talking to your future self. You're telling your future self what's working and what doesn't work. So when you get down the road, if you need to restart, or if you're like, hey, something's off track, something's not working, you can look back, be like, oh yeah, I'm starting to do this again, which didn't work for me before, or I stopped doing this, which that's actually what it helped. And so it helps you not only keep track of what's working and what's not working, you're talking to your future self because, again, I'm going to go back to weight loss. Weight loss can be frustrating because it is a long journey. And if you're looking for quick weight loss, you're basically doing plastic surgery, just FYI. But if you want sustainable weight loss, it is a long journey and it can be frustrating. And there could be times when you're like, I hit this plateau, nothing's working, I'm not losing weight, nothing's changed. But when you look at that journal or that log, you're like, oh, but wait a second, I'm lifting 20 pounds heavier than I used to. I'm walking longer than I used to. Or, hey, I'm actually starting to run, which I didn't do before. So reminding yourself of everything you changed, that's going to help keep you going. All right, next, celebrate the mini goals. This kind of goes to that all or nothing thinking. And they actually did a study on this years ago where, like, one of the examples they gave was, again, I'm going to go back to fat loss, but that was the example I remember. And I can't remember the exact numbers, but it was something like, let's say if you set a goal for losing 50 pounds and you lost within, like, let's say 6 months. Okay. I'm just throwing out numbers, and you lost 40 pounds in that 6 months. People felt like they did not achieve a goal, that they failed a goal. And technically they didn't achieve it, but they also didn't realize how much weight loss they did have. Like, so focusing on the little goals, focusing on the little steps that you are achieving along the way is going to help you. And maybe losing 50 pounds in 6 months wasn't realistic for these people, right? So it's going back to that and realizing, hey, but I did lose 40 pounds, which is awesome, right? And so celebrating those little mini goals. All right, next, think long-term sustainability. So some habits they're like, these are perfect habits. Everyone does these. I should be doing these. But can you do these a year down the road? Is it going to fit into the rest of life, or is it going to drag you down? Are you putting too much energy into it? Some habits, I even worked with clients that some habits are going to come and go, and that is okay because it comes and goes based off of what's going on in your life. You have to be flexible and you have to adjust. So you want to kind of look at, if you land your dream job, great, but what's going to come next, so forth. Reflecting on how you will sustain success keeps your progress from fading once the initial excitement wears off. So again, let's go back to fat loss. Your goal is to lose 20 pounds. Awesome. You lost it. Now what? Are you going to go back to eating the way you were doing? Are you going to go back to not exercising as much? Can you keep up just paying attention to how you're eating healthier? Can you keep up with staying active to keep those 20 pounds off? So next, be aware of obstacles. We all have it. And you guys are going to hear one of my biggest obstacles, which is living tiny. Everything has to adjust. It's a huge obstacle for me, and I have to work my way around it. And there's other obstacles because you know what? Life happens. You have stress, you have relationships, work, daily responsibilities. These all can impact the chances of obtaining your goals. Some of these obstacles you can't eliminate because they're there. You just have to deal with them. But being aware of them will help you prepare and respond to them in a healthier way, and how to adjust your goals around them so you can still achieve them, right? All right, final. Use your resources, whether it's professional guidance, educational materials, supportive friends, or even apps that track your progress. The more tools you have, the better equipped you will be to reach your aspirations. And the more tools you try out, you'll find out what works for you and what doesn't. Because one may totally have worked for your best friend, but it may not work for you. Just because it worked for them, like I said, it may not work for you, or it may. But you need to have several to figure out what works for you and then go from there. So, and I think that's the last of my beautiful PowerPoint presentation. Yeah. So I hope these tips have given you a solid foundation to start building and keeping your goals coming up. Oh, let's go back. I've lost that. All right. Still figuring out the whole two screens thing. So bear with me. All right. Remember, life isn't static. Your goals shouldn't be either. Adjust them as needed. Give yourself grace when things don't go perfect. Because, listen to this podcast. It didn't go the way I wanted to. but it is just fine. I got it out and we're moving forward. And also celebrate the process as much as the results, right? And you got this. So, what I want you to do now is take a few minutes, 10 minutes, let's get you started, right? Take 10 minutes and write down your first 3 aspirations. What are 3 general goals you want to do for this have for the rest of 26? And it's okay if you haven't already started it. You can start now. The best time to start is now, right? So write down three of your aspirations. Then I want you to define your whys behind each goal. And then once you do that, I want you to write down at least one step towards each goal, because that one little step is what's going to help slowly integrate into your life and help you achieve that big goal, right? And then decide which one you want to start with and begin. Maybe one doesn't start until August. Maybe one can start right now. Or maybe one of them you're like, I can't start to August, but I can do this instead. That's going to make it easier come August, right? So break it down, kind of figure it out. And so I want you to stay curious and I want you to stay ambitious. And that is the end of my beautiful PowerPoint presentation. So if you enjoy this episode, please subscribe to my podcast or tell someone else about it. I would really greatly appreciate it. You may also find me on Facebook and LinkedIn and YouTube at Body and Mind Strong. And if this episode resonates with you and you're ready for more clarity, balance, and support in your wellness journey, I'd love to hear from you. Reach out to me at Renee@bodyandmindstrong.com, or you can check out my website at www.bodyandmindstrong.com. All right. And I think that's all she wrote for today. I hope you guys have a great week. Like I said, stay curious, stay ambitious, and I will talk to you guys next time.